Everybody, I'm Jason Moore from MakingStarWars.net, and today I got, old Santa. Everybody knows Santa. Santa's always with me, and I'm always with him. And then Mr. Azatru.
Hello.
Hey man, it's good to have you on, dude. And Jedi Mike.
Hey Jason.
Yeah, so
Hail Lambhead.
Lambhead. Yeah, every day, man. Jedi Mike's the one who's keeping Lambhead alive. I know Baymax is like, yeah, that's right.
It's a fucking vibe. It's a vibe.
I should have played the song. See, you said it too late. Oh yeah, I got a Grogu. What do they call it? A jumper sweater.
I've never heard jumper, but I'll take her word for it. Meg is a sweetie.
Well, that's what Santa said. I mean, I don't know. And then
no, that's what.
Yeah,
Azatru probably knows better than me.
Yeah, I'd say it's a jumper.
A jumper. All right, it's my jumper because I'm a fancy guy. But look at his little dumb face. But so yeah, Mercoid sent that to me, and there's the link to get one if you want to get one. Yeah. So there was some like video game jazz today. A little bit of video game jazz going on. That's starting to hit, and that's why yesterday we were like, we gotta have the Azatru on because Azatru is the one that's usually like, well, Azatru and Bespin are both usually like, hey, dummy, just so you know something happened. And I'm like, oh yeah, oh really? This video game thing, it's a thing. And yeah, so like this is like what this is one of the bigger first things right here. This like Jedi Survivor stuff.
Yeah, so that's the planet from the first teaser trailer, and the artwork for the toys they've released. But other than that, we know nothing else about it, except now we have it at sunset, whereas before it was like literally in the middle of the day.
So wait, is this the planet where the ship was crashed? Like that ship was down?
That's where it was crashed, but as you can see, it's not crashed there. So I don't know. There's a higher resolution version on Facebook, which is what I used, and you can see like there's like some dust coming from the mantis. So maybe it's just landed. I don't know. Also, you can't see in this picture here, but on the Facebook profile picture, you can see like a destroyed planet.
Okay.
I don't know how I can share it, but I can probably try and show you because no one else has noticed it, but I thought I'd tweet it out because
yeah.
Like Jeddah blown up Survivor.
It's got like I don't know. It looks like it's somewhat like I thought first of all it's like kind of like Starkiller base, but there's things broken like off the planet, so I don't really know.
Huh?
It's really strange.
Santa,
it doesn't line up.
That new book cover with Cal Kestis, that's also possibly something that has to do with this. I don't know.
Yeah, so the book is a prequel to Jedi Survivor. It's set in between the games. So the Fifth Brother's in it, and there is like a blurb of like basically they're going to help a stormtrooper defect, but in doing so, they come across the Fifth Brother because the Fifth Brother's like in the way of a device that's going to help Cal. But that's nothing to do with the game. Like, it's not going to be in the game necessarily. But who knows? It's a prequel to the game, so we'll see.
I was thinking about a planet reference. If you'd seen anything in the synopsis.
Yeah, there's nothing in there. There's nothing about a planet. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what it could be because it's just like it's like a grey planet with broken parts of it coming away from it. So.
Wait, have you tweeted that? Have you tweeted it?
Yeah, I've tweeted. Yeah, I did. It's like my latest tweet.
Okay. Hold on.
It's not visible on the banner. It's only visible on like the Facebook picture they showed. So
here, I'm gonna try to grab it from your tweet. Excuse me. Okay, I'm grabbing that image. Is this the one that you said to EA where you said, "Hey EA, Star Wars"?
Yeah, that's it.
It's just in your PFP.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like what is that? Needs some
Yeah,
help
what is that?
analyzing it.
So are we talking like up here on the top of the image, kind of?
Yeah, yeah.
That
It looks
could
like
be
a
cloud
scarred
cover.
moon. It looks like it's very circular, like a moon up here.
Hmm.
Like
It looks like it's a
Mandalore.
moon.
Mandalore.
That's had some. Yeah, I don't know. Does Mandalore
Or
have?
what's the moon of Mandalore that was heavily featured where that one sect was hiding out? Trying to think of that arc now.
What do we got? We got Concord. What was that place that
Concord
Meg
Dawn.
mentioned today, Santa?
Concord Dawn, yes.
Chicken
Thank you.
Palace. What was that place called? Chicken Town.
No, it's where House Wren is from,
Yeah,
So-
Sabine's house.
but
Oh.
it's not destroyed like that. No,
Yeah, so that's
it almost reminds me of Starkiller Base with the big hole in it at the right at the
trench.
edge. Yeah, but I don't think it's Starkiller either.
No, we had that. Well, we had Ilum in Jedi Fallen Order when Starkiller Base has been constructed, but it doesn't look the same, and there's stuff in the sky as well. So I don't know. It's really strange. They've definitely left that there for some reason.
When you look at how the artist painted this, you can see that if they painted the moon, and then they painted the clouds over it. Probably. I wish Rob was here, but he's having his Thanksgiving. He could tell us for sure. But when you look right here, you can see like in the center of this image right here, you can see how it's doing that. So this is a huge moon on that world. If any of this is based off of anything in the game, we're likely going to be able to look right up at this moon when we're walking around in the 3D environment. I would think, to some degree, anyway.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. I did look at the planet from the teaser trailer and the artwork, and I couldn't see this because there isn't much clear shot of the sky. It's mostly just at ground level. So this is all new, basically.
What's the time period, Azature? Because
So this is 5 years after Jedi Fallen Order. So isn't it like the same time as Kenobi? It's just after Kenobi, I think. So it's not ready for Death Star territory yet. So I've already seen people say, "Oh, it's Death Star." No, it's too early, far too early.
And then so that makes the book a sequel to Fallen Order and a prequel to this.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I
That's-
can read you
that's
the
fine.
blurb if you want.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Actually, I should have brought that up, but yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it says basically Cal has built a new life for himself with the crew of Stinger Mantis, and with Merrin, Sia agrees, and BD1, the closest thing Cal has to a family since did follow the Jedi Order. Even as the galaxy's future grows more uncertain by the day, with each blow struck against the Empire, the Mantis crew grows more daring. On what could be a routine mission, they meet a stormtrooper determined to help chart her own course, but they need the help of Cal and the crew. In exchange for help starting her new life, the Imperial deserter brings word of a powerful, potentially invaluable tool for their fight against the Empire. And even better, she can help them get to it. The only catch, pursuing it will bring them into the path of one of the Empire's most dangerous servants, the Inquisitor, known as the Fifth Brother. Can the Imperial deserter truly be trusted? And while Cal and his friends have survived run-ins with the Inquisitors before, how many times can they evade the Empire before luck runs out? So we're definitely going to be seeing the Fifth Brother in the book, but we don't know what device it's going to be or whatever. So
He's just going to be like, Reva. That's all he does. the whole
maybe he'll
time.
finally do something. Maybe he'll
Yeah.
finally do something.
He's like, oh, it's a book. I could do something. But yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to. I guess I'm happy to see that old weirdo in something again.
with that synopsis, if hopefully this new book is under the new Filoni direction, because if it's the KK direction, they might be looking for the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, yeah, right. People are gonna
Mike.
think you're serious. They're like, this guy. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you for the super chat, bud. I appreciate it, dude. Take my money. I'll take it, man. I'm gonna spend it on for Christmas stuff.
Also on the cover art, they have the Kenobi version of Purge Troopers, which, I just say they're going to be in the new game. I think you even mentioned that's what, like a long time ago. So
yeah, Yeah, that was what a long time ago I heard that they were changing those to adhere to the new game and the Kenobi series or something like that. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Which is also good because then they get to merchandise the new game slightly differently and the TV show and all that kind of jazz. I saw that guy who plays Cal, like was he in that Guardians like stuff or whatever? Like
Moynihan was in the
stuff?
Christmas special?
Yeah, Mark Hamill in the Christmas special. But that actor, he's going to be in those Marvel films. Like it's like in like an important role. And I was like I wonder if this takes a lot of the stuff of him being in live action Star Wars stuff off the table, and down the road, if that complicates things for them if they ever want to take it there. But
He's
I kind of
just
don't.
too good of an actor. He needs to be Cal Kestis. He was just too good in that Batman show, whatever Gotham show.
I never saw it. Was he was really good in it?
A lot of people
that
say
Gotham
he's
show,
really,
yeah.
really
Now
good.
that you got some distance from it, you really ought to dig into that Gotham show and enjoy it for what it was.
Yeah,
I thought it was brilliant, especially the
I
acting.
think
The guy that does it. As a church,
yeah,
what's
go ahead.
the
I just saw a new article come across Deadline.
Yeah, I'm grabbing it right now. Thank you, Meg.
Yeah, actress is associated with Acolyte, just released.
Yeah, we got a lot. We got a couple of Acolyte things today that we get to hit on too.
As a church, I was going to ask you if this new open world is going to be expanded more than the first Jedi Fallen Order. Like, what?
I feel
What
like
can you
they
tell
might
someone
do.
that doesn't know, like me?
Well, there's honestly been nothing, and unlike all of the other games, I haven't played the game early. I don't know. I haven't signed any NDAs. I genuinely don't know anything about this at the moment. They've kept it under wraps pretty well, to be honest. There hasn't been pretty much any leaks, so I'd imagine that things would be bigger though, because a complaint the last game had was definitely it was a bit too like there wasn't enough open worldness to it, I suppose.
Yeah,
I guess I was watching that Midnight Suns game being played today, and so it made me think, what's the next generation of openness going to be in the Star Wars world, you know?
Yeah, I think the next truly open world game will be the Ubisoft game, but that's so many years away. Like they're really taking their time to make sure
That's the one that Jason's saying is like going to be the Fortnite. Like they're really going to make it a metaverse.
I don't know. I get the feeling there might not be any multiplayer to it. I mean, none of the
I don't
job
think
lists
so.
list multiplayer. I think it's just going to be single player, and it's weird because almost all the games they've announced right now, like 9 of them, only one of them is not even confirmed to have multiplayer. It's really strange because most people want a multiplayer game, and I think because there was a lack of Star Wars stories, Lucasfilm and EA and everyone else was like, we need to make Star Wars stories, not multiplayer. But they've forgotten the long-term revenue is multiplayer games, and now they don't. Is there one in development? I don't know. It's only Fortnite, and it's like, what?
Well, I don't understand that part of the game industry. I'm saying, why are they letting the Lego place expand, right? Like Lego games, they can have whatever. Sonic, Link, like what's the philosophy? Is it about a young way to get people into it and Star Wars isn't taking that tact? I don't understand.
Well, when you go with, say, Lego or Fortnite or Minecraft, whatever, those don't have to relate to canon in any way.
Right, The Sims. They just had that
anything
Sims
you want.
that whole push.
Right. So there's no pressure to kind of work with the story group or to double check character references and timelines and all of that. You just put whatever you feel like in there and make it entertaining.
So you think it's an ease of intellectual property rights? Like, let's hire less lawyers? That's all it is? All of the money?
Well, that's part of it. The other part is
trying to push. I wonder if they're trying to push people into a certain place. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I just know that as Santa, so I can only be here for a few more minutes.
You know a lot about what's happening behind the curtains.
Yeah, I've got a parade to do this evening, so I've got to leave here in the next 45 minutes. So I got to go get this whole suit on. But I can tell you that day in, day out, that's what I hear from kids: Lego, Fortnite, Minecraft, rinse and repeat, like all day. So it makes a lot of sense if you're trying to make money to deliver where the demand is, and the demand is Lego, Fortnite, Minecraft. It's insane.
I'm thinking about what you just said as it's true, where you're like, they forgot that their money comes from the online, like the multiplayer stuff, and sort of through those little transactions.
Okay.
I'm thinking that if they can release a game like this, they obviously could make packs for it or whatever, but let's just say they don't. I think I just spent like $20 this month on Fortnite Star Wars skins. So maybe they're like, hey, we don't have to actually sell things through our game. We could sell that stuff elsewhere. Maybe that's
Yeah,
their like.
Fortnite's just got an audience already. They don't have to. Disney and Lucasfilm's probably thinking it's so big, we don't have to create anything. We just have to let them, because Epic's the ones making the character models.
Yeah.
But if like EA were hated for not doing a story for Battlefront 2, right? You had John Boyega saying, "Where's the story?" The actual core Battlefront players didn't want a story. The
I didn't
original
want one.
games. The original games were just the same maps with Tamara Morrison talking in a basic cutscene, and people just wanted that. They didn't want a story that took 2 years to make, $50 million maybe to make, right? And it added to the game, and it was helped build the main mechanics. But if a next Battlefront came out, none of the core players actually would have wanted the single player campaign again. It's a waste of money, and the thing is, it would also hurt the PR because they'd be saying there's no campaign. Because you know what the media's like, oh, they're taking something away. And it's like, no, the actual player base don't want a single player game. They want a live service multiplayer game.
So,
Yeah.
Santa, my deep question, because you're here, is all these kids now are thinking three-dimensionally. Listen to it. It's the Lego, it's the Minecraft, it's the building, it's the crafting. Which came first? Are they changing because STEM and the way that we're teaching is changing? Or because the next generation is going to have a different, richer imagination. What do you think? What's happening?
Well,
are the kids leading us, or are we leading
No,
the
I
kids?
think it comes from, there's two factors. The reason Minecraft and what's the other one?
Lego,
No.
Roblox.
Yeah, those two are really popular. They're video games, and Minecraft is just insanely popular amongst a whole wide girth of ages. So it's video game. That's the entry point, video game, and then you're trying to introduce different franchises within that. So you get a lot of purchasing by the intellectual property, the IP owners, who want to get exposure to those consumers so that they'll buy more of their stuff. And then what that turned into is like the Minecraft toys you can go buy. It started as a video game. Then Lego has just been extremely popular for forever. It's not anything new. But the pandemic kind of put some adrenaline in it because kids are more trapped inside. They can do these sets as a project, sort of like sitting at the dinner table and working a puzzle, right? So they could do that as a family, and when they're done, they've got a toy, a collectible, something they can keep. And so the pandemic kind of fueled the Lego collection bit. And then, of course, that one's the opposite way. Because you got all these Lego things, then the cartoons, the series, and that are what make them popular.
What's interesting though is all of Lego's like interactive stuff has failed. Like they keep trying to digitize the sets, and the lines end after like a year or two. So they're trying to go into that stuff, and it's backfiring. I think they should just stop doing that stuff. Like just focus on actually making good sets.
Well, and that's why I wonder, is it because 20 years ago we became coders and making stuff? Like that's the whole Roblox, the Minecraft, all that thing, or is it something else?
No, I don't think so. And to get to Azatru's point, what Lego has started doing is creating more entry-level sets. So instead of your $200 $350 sets. They have smaller, like an X-Wing you can get for like $25
Right.
versus, Millennium Falcon for $200, $250.
Actually,
now you're
it costs
getting into
it costs
dumbing
$40.
down
Trust
stuff.
me, I know. I just had to buy it.
40, the X-Wing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just had a kid ask me for it last weekend.
yeah. Tell them
Yeah.
no. It costs $40. Ask your parents, loser. No. Oh, and before I forget, Darth Lopez. I'm totally going to use that as an excuse to go to Tommy's Burgers, man. Thanks. So
Chili
some
on your
news-
burger for sure.
Some news just broke from LRM. What we'll hit real quick, and it says Star Wars news and rumors: Rogue Squadron released in 2024, and then the whole cantina is back. And then I guess this was like a show, which I can't go dig through it. I haven't. So is there an article to it, or is it just in the show?
This is all I've seen. It
Oh.
just dropped in the last little bit.
Bury
Yeah.
it in the podcast.
So
Yeah.
people will start breaking it down. But I posted it on all our Discords.
Yeah, I didn't. Obviously, haven't heard it. I just saw it right now. Am I getting lost? For the first time, but it's I don't know if that's really possible. I don't know if that production timeline actually is possible.
On the
Yeah.
volume? Come on.
Well-
They're not going to make movies in the volume. I don't think for the Star Wars stuff in that way. I think the Star Wars cinematic experience is very much based in very large sets. Like even when they go to do Yavin for this new Andor, it sounds like they're going back to Cardington Sheds. And so I don't think that you could go, well, they would just do it in the volume. I don't think so. I think right now too, I think if they were to do that, they would be setting themselves up for a whole world of the prequels don't look real, it's fake CGI. They would just be opening themselves up to that. So I don't think they're going to do it personally.
I'm wearing my Filoniverse hat, and if you can put Dave Filoni in the Mando in the volume, I could make a whole movie probably, with TIE fighters and stuff in the volume, maybe.
Well, I would think that where you used to see them put like those paintings in the background, like on Bespin, right?
Yeah.
Cloud City, you could paste that in using the volume versus having this giant thing painted, right? And then layering it. But I wouldn't think you could do it. Yeah.
I don't know. When you say Rogue Squadron, I think of the show Star Wars Resistance, and I loved the fighting and the chasing and the racing of X-Wings and ships in that show. So
Yeah, I think if they do that, well, just to back it up a little bit. Number one is I haven't heard their show, so I don't know if they have something on the inside or if it's just a discussion topic. So I have no idea what they said. So I'm going to listen to it after the show, and then I'll come back to it if it ends up being something with gravitas or whatever. But you can't, if you do an X-Wing Squadron show at this point after Maverick, you can't just go in there and be like, "Hey, good shot, Jatson. All right, Porkins, you fat son of a bitch." You can't just do that as the show. There's got to be like spectacle,
I feel like if Rogue Squadron released before Maverick, whatever it would have been, it would have been fine. But now they've probably had to go far back to the drawing board and think, how are we going to be able to even match it? Because I've had this discussion with people on Reddit, and they're like, "I'll take the volume, it's fine." And I'm like, how big Maverick's been? People will see and compare. I know it's not the same thing because you can't go into a real X-Wing, but at the same time, like with actual flying, but at the same time, they've got to wait probably a few years before they can do something truly evolutionary that Maverick hasn't done. They've got to do something different, and it's not just use the volume.
Like even like when I was playing Squadrons in VR.
Mm-hmm.
When you play Squadrons in VR and you look at it, you're like, look at how you could shoot this. There's so many ways that and shots that can be done that are magnificent that they couldn't do before, and it set the tone. And then JJ's Star Wars tried to copy the tone to a large degree and didn't really move it too much forward on that front. Like that stuff is very much like it has a Star Wars feel, but it doesn't move it.
Yeah, like
push
for
the
me,
envelope.
the Battle of Endor, Space Battle, I don't think has been matched. Like
Yeah.
for me, Scarif, a lot of people say how good it is, but I don't know. Maybe it's because it's so old, and I'm like, that the fact that they did this 40 plus years ago, like it's insane. For me, that's my favorite ever space battle, and I don't think any film has ever topped that. So if they're going to make a Rogue Squadron film where most of the film's going to be inside the cockpits of a starfight, they've got to do something that we have never seen before, something truly advanced. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that anytime soon.
What about doing something we never seen before and actually bringing it down to a smaller scale the way Gilroy did in Andor?
Not in the theater. Why?
No, I don't think
Why do that in the theater when you can do that on Disney Plus? I mean, that's what I say.
I'm being a contrarian to the whole Maverick. It was so awesome. Maverick, I don't know.
Well, it's not about whether it's about a good movie or it's not or whatever. It's that they used real G-force on the pilot, stuff that gave it an authenticity, and audiences love it. It's made a ton of money. It's coming out again. It was so popular. So point being though is if you go and you do a Jedi Starfighter, or I'm sorry, an X-wing fighter show, it's got to have that visual level. It can't just be about I'm not saying I don't want the relationships there and I don't want intimacy and stuff like that, like between the characters. I do. But when you go back to see a Star Wars movie in the theater, and right now I could drop $8 a month, I could get like 12 hours of Andor if I want to sit there and watch people eating cereal in Star Wars. So if I go to the theater and I'm dropping $20 on a ticket to go see something, it's got to like take it up to the next level. Now, the one thing about it though is she was working on that movie quite a while ago. So there could be a ton of pre-production prep work that was done on it before they had the halt and stuff like that. So maybe there's stuff that it could have it be delivered at a really high level, and we just don't know because we don't really know how far they were when they stopped production, when she had to go. But that's all conjecture.
Yeah, so I was just listening to it in the background where you guys are discussing. And they're saying,
Santa, I was telling you about how much I love you, and you're like my best friend.
I was listening to both, multitasking.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know I'm a dirty ass liar. Okay, go on.
But they said with the switch from Chapek to Iger's wanting to put the foot on the accelerator to get things into theater again, and that what he heard is that they want a Star Wars movie in a theater by the end of 2024. And if that's the case, we know there was other stories that came out earlier this week, last week, saying that Kathleen had a roadmap for 25, 26, and 27.
Yeah.
But this would preempt that, and that he had heard that Rogue Squadron was just put on pause. It was never like jettisoned, right? It was never truly canned. It was just put on pause. And so with Iger coming back in, wanting to put the foot on the gas again and get that moving, that movie is there. And I think now it's just connecting. Okay, what project would you bump, and what would you bump up? A Rogue Squadron is part of the discussion.
So and is that with Patty or without Patty?
I don't know.
Patty J, as we call around here.
My immediate thought is, how bad is Avatar 2 if they're willing to put a Star Wars up against Avatar 3 in 2024?
No, well, that would be self-cannibalizing, so they wouldn't do that.
No, just scheduling it. Just schedule it.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? But that's the whole reason they didn't want anything in 2024 for Star Wars, because they didn't want Avatar 3 to eat it up. So I'm saying,
but they were talking about doing
this so bad that they know Avatar 3 is going to be bad. No,
unless you move
the supposed to be the good one, actually. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, unless you change the release date. You don't have to release both of them in December. You can release Star Wars in May.
Wars get the November MCU slot, you're saying? Something
like that, or take the May, the old traditional May date.
We missed it. It is Avatar Fridays. We should do a little mini segment later.
We did it. We just did it.
We win. We win, Rob.
I mean, if Rob decided to do his Thanksgiving today, if he was a real Avatar fan, not a fake Avatar fan, he'd be here for Avatar. But apparently, he doesn't love it enough. So, big fan, as I always say. Big old faker. But that said, I hope this is true. I hope this is accurate.
I'm skeptical. How are they going to do
So
it?
skeptical on my part
It's
without
so
hearing.
tight.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to it like while I play video games or something later on. Well, I'm just
Yeah,
like,
I have to listen to it when I can just pay attention to them and not be listening
Yeah.
to you too. But
yeah, that's fair.
yeah,
That's
but
totally
I
fair.
do have to excuse myself. I've got to go do a parade.
All right,
How
you know
cold
what?
is it gonna be?
Santa, the children need you. Go.
How
They
cold
do.
is the temperature tonight?
It's going to be in the 40s Fahrenheit.
But
It'll
with
be in
that
the 40s.
Christmas warmth, it feels like a good
And you do
75.
double long johns, right? Double up.
No,
Boom,
no.
Double up.
No,
Oh,
He
it's
goes
no big
commando.
problem. The suit
Santa goes commando.
is wool, so it's already kind of warm. I just wear sweatpants underneath. Put on the Santa. We're good to go.
Hey,
bring
have
your
a good
best sack.
yeah.
Now you just got to do the parade wave and ho ho ho! Merry Christmas! Oh, ho, ho, so good to see you all. Hello, ho, ho, like that.
Have a gosh.
You probably have to do respiratory therapy afterwards. That's a lot of hoes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I do. All right, we'll see you guys. Take care.
See ya.
Bye, Santa.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rob. Rob, you're supposed to be eating your Thanksgiving food. What are you doing? Rob's having Thanksgiving today, so. But I'm gonna use that to go see Avatar because I like it. I'm gonna buy another ticket. So whatever, dude.
I know what Rob's talking about, by the way. I think there's a one here in town where you can go and it's super quiet and there's no trailers. It's super awesome, people. Look it up.
I like
It's out
trailers. I love trailers. I want to see trailers. I don't, like I said, I don't want to see like, Coke commercials. I don't want to hear about some fake country singer that's a failed pop star that has a new album out. I don't want to hear any of that. But if they just want to show me movie trailers, I'll go to the theater and watch movie trailers any day.
Well, no, I
Helpful
mean,
if you're in traffic and you can't hit the exact time. You've got time just to get in. I don't miss a film because of that.
Yeah,
I don't miss the trailers. Either I get there late, like you said, as a chore, or I get there real early because I want to see Maria Menounos. You know what I'm saying?
I like what she says. No, on Howard Stern.
No.
The comic binge says Rogue Squadron doesn't need Patty. I'm kind of pretty much agreeing with you there. Slap her name on it as a producer, which she would get. She'd get an executive producer credit for sure. Get a different writer and push it forward. That kind of film is designed for an awesome IMAX experience. See Rogue One. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you there. I don't really need the Rogue Squadron film, but I would gladly one year go see. If there was a Star Wars movie a year, I'd be fine with that year being an X-Wing fighter movie. Because I sometimes, like as an adult, I kind of go like, whatever about that kind of stuff. But then I remember back to when I was about 6 or 7, and all I pretty much needed was an X-Wing fighter. Then I was happy. You know what I mean? I was like, that stuff's cool. So I kind of get it. For them, one for me. That's my Andor. One for them, I say. But
Cool.
by the way, as it's true, are you gonna buy that book? Are you gonna read it? Do you
Yeah,
go that
I'm
deep into
gonna
that
have
stuff?
to. I've got to make a video on it because there might be lots of connections to the first game, I'd imagine. So
All right.
it's not. It's coming out, I think, March 6th or 9th, which means there's only going to be like 3 weeks before the game comes out. So it's not a lot of time, to be honest. So
See, that's
people
why I
are
was
gonna have to
asking
get
you
it pretty quick.
because, sorry, this weekend, because it's this is the first time I've seen this big electronic pavilion at the LA Comic Con. I wonder, are they going to tease stuff this weekend that is going to be in the news Monday, Tuesday that leads to the tea?
It seems
on
like
Thursday?
it. With the book, it's definitely not just a coincidence. It's definitely done on purpose because they haven't announced the trailer's going to be there next Thursday yet. But with the profile pitch change, the book, they're just going to hit in something probably every single day now, which is good because it means it's better than just drawing it out for like the past 6 months because there's been nothing literally until today, basically.
Yeah. So all right, I'm gonna get the book then. If you're gonna read the book, I'll get the book, and if it doesn't step on your own channel's toes, you can come. We can talk about the book a couple of times or whatever. If we could do a couple of updates, whatever.
Because I think the only 2 Star Wars books I've read since like the Revenge of the Sith novel when I was younger was the Battlefront novels.
Mhm.
But I don't think I even finished the second one because it came out in like August, and then I was doing tons of stuff for Battlefront 2, so I never got around to actually reading it. And apparently, it actually was good for the campaign, so I should probably read it. But I just don't make any time to read books.
Yeah.
See, when I saw the planet that you were talking about today, I immediately thought of A New Dawn, where Kanan and Hera meet, and a lot of the strip mining and stuff that's happening in Andor. Like, that's the thing. It happens in the Thrawn novels. It's the how does the Empire strip the planet and all that stuff. And it was really good in the Jonathan Jackson Miller book, A New Dawn. And you get to hear about Kanan and how he meets Hera and stuff. But I thought about that possibly too. It's like, who knows?
Yeah, those are good examples of how that beyond continuity, how the Lucasfilm Story Group contributes ideas that sort of end up informing all of these other creatives who come in, And let's before I
like
forget,
Gilroy is a
get the
subversive
Bespin story.
motherfucker, but they've been talking about stripping planets for a long time in
They love
many,
strippers.
many different levels.
Okay. Wait, is it gonna come on? Is this thing gonna do it? I don't know why. My
There we go.
StreamYard is slow as fuck today. All right. So this is before we get to the Bestman Bulletin's article. Paradigm Signs. Margarita Leviev actress board Star Wars series The Acolyte. The Deuce and Revenge actor has signed with Paradigm in all has signed with Paradigm in all years. In addition, we've learned she booked a guest role on Disney's upcoming The Acolyte. So she has a guest role. So that means she's in an episode and she dies, or she's just in an episode. She continues to be repped by Silver Lining Entertainment.
Yeah, I was gonna say we learned. You mean your agent wrote this article?
Yeah, the agent told them. The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take reviewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers. How many times have we heard that now? In the final days of the High Republic era, a former Padawan reunites with the Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. Levieva joins a cast including, and then we have all of the cast people. Is there anything else in this, or is that just it? It looks like that's pretty much it. It's just this is all like industry. Let's fill up the three.
Yeah, this could have been a
words.
bigger agent. This could have been a bigger agent's vehicle. They'd be like, "Don't forget about Carrie Ann Moss." Boom.
Yeah. So, well, there you go. I don't know who she is, so I'm not like, hey, that's great. But she's probably, obviously, is a big enough deal to make a Deadline story out of. So people probably know who she is. I just don't know.
By the way, did you see Daisy was at Lucasfilm yesterday?
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that real quick. That was like a thing that was getting out of hand a little bit. But here, I'm gonna throw up the Bespin story, then I'll put the images up and show what happened and what it amounted to, if I can find the image. Oh, by the way, I meant to pull this up. I was like, hey, I wanted to ask him what it was like being on the set that day. What happened? Did he say "fuck
Did
the
he have his
Empire"?
poem like before the show? Like,
Because I think he did. I think he was there saying it personally. But yeah. So this is how it started, right? As a true right here with Daisy
Yep.
Ridley in an Instagram story, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so people saw that and they know that's at Lucasfilm, so they all freaked out, and then they're like, "Oh, she's in it." And then that one dude, oh, who's that guy? The Jeff Snyder. He was like doing a show at the same time, going like, "Yeah," and he just kind of like they broke down on his show why he thought Daisy would be the one to come back more than anybody else, but he was just giving analysis. He wasn't saying anything like I have the inside scoop.
Well, if you base it on what she's said since Rise of Skywalker, she's only spoken positively about, like I said, I think in the chat before, she met with Kathy around a year ago. She also said in an interview like earlier this year, "I will always be Rey," and things like she's always said, "I'll be back," like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And compared to the other two, where they've sort of distanced themselves, she's always been like really embracing it. Like after Rise of Skywalker came out, when it came out for Blu-ray, she did like, just mobile phone videos of her and stuff like that promoting Star Wars. Whereas the other two, I don't think would ever have agreed to stuff like that.
And I always say when they got Harrison Ford back twice, they could get Oscar Isaac back. Like
Yeah.
all of these people, she's doing a movie right now for Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar Isaac's already on the Disney legend track. You can tell, right? He's going to be at D23 in 20 years. He's going to be a Disney legend like Ming Na.
He's he's Poe Dameron. So it's like, you know what I mean? They got him
he's
like
Moon
in
Knight.
a big
And he's
role.
Moon Knight. I mean, he's deep in the Marvel. He's going to be deep in the Marvel for a while. But what you guys don't know is after Daisy went here, she has a secret Instagram for followers like me and Santa. And she went to get some fried chicken at a special location. And then she went to another place and she played her lottery numbers with her friend, Damon. That's all I'm going to say. And I put a little hint in the chat.
Was it okay? Yeah. That's the whole thing right here is the follow-up that she does, by the way, though. And the follow-up here is of her with her co-stars back from 9. Nothing saucy happening, just a lunch visit, but now feeling so nostalgic because this was 3 years ago.
And then she just proceeded to post loads of episode 9 related pictures. So yeah, she definitely wants to come back for sure. Like the other two, they've been like, they'll come back when the time's right. But she's like, oh, I'd definitely do it. I think it's because because I think there was a quote. I can't remember what she said exactly, but I think it might have been after. It was before maybe Rise of Skywalker or just after Rise of Skywalker, and she said something like, "Where's all the love gone?" Because of like how good the Force Awakens received, and then she feels like so many fans turned on her and everyone else. But I think she's probably also seen how many people actually do like the films, and it's. I think when the film's coming out, that's when it's at its height. But then there'll be people that will like. Now she's back on social media. She can see people actually do really enjoy those films, and I've seen tons of positivity. Or actually, I wouldn't mind Rey coming back. I didn't like the films, and it's like, well, these are the same people that probably trashed and moaned about Rey for the past 5 years, but now they're actually, it wasn't so bad. I just got caught up with everyone else bandwagoning on how bad things were.
Yeah,
I wonder what she's doing in London right now. Like, is she on stage? Doesn't she have a great relationship with Pinewood too? Like, that's probably why. Well, when you're closer to it,
she's been in she's filmed a bunch of films, but none of them have come out yet. They're all in like they can't get like
distribution.
Distribution, yeah, except for the Disney one, which was direct to Disney Plus. But it seems like it's just been a bit of a curse. Like she's done tons of films. They're all filmed. They're all ready. Just can't get distribution. But she's also signed on to do plenty of other stuff. But then she's been happy to do all the voice work pretty much for Star Wars. She did Battlefront 2, things like that. I remember this is a bit of an inside story, but I was told before Battlefront 2, John Boyega's agent was like, he deserves a ridiculous, I can't remember the number, but it was an absurd amount for a couple of hours of voice for Finn. Finn almost never came to Battlefront 2. That's why he was a DLC character. Like, there is so many voice actors that didn't do Battlefront 2 because they demanded millions. And like, she was like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, Billy D was like $5,000. He was like, yeah, I'll do it.
So there's probably something more to it, because I believe exactly what you're saying right now. But so what I had heard was that when they signed on for episode 7 and they signed on for appearances. So like, for instance, when they got paid, they got like an amount for doing the film. Like, I think like Ridley's and Boyega's was like $120,000. Basically, it's like what it amounted to.
Small.
But it was like, I'm making up, I don't know how many appearances it was, but let's say 9 appearances. So if they could put her in 9 movies for what they paid her, but they could also put her in, you could get Oscar Isaac to do Star Wars Resistance. That's one. Star Tours is another. The 3 Star Wars films you did is another. And so then it fills up really quickly, like what it ends up being. And so on with Boyega though, he was in those 3 Star Wars movies. He was in Star Tours. He was in, like, he did things. I remember he was. So I'm wondering if he ended up like having on his slate everything beyond it, and the Battlefront would be beyond it. And then that was like, oh, we have to renegotiate for more money
because all of them, even Adam Driver, was tied into the Lego Force Awakens game, and I thought that was quite weird because even though it's direct tie into Force Awakens, EA had the exclusivity. Battlefront is far bigger than the Lego game, and EA had to do all the sourcing themselves. They had to find the voice actors, negotiate with them, pay them. Lucasfilm was all hands off, whereas the Force Awakens game, they even got Adam Driver to do tons of Lego voice. Like, that's really strange because Adam never did anything else. He didn't come for Battlefront 2. He gave his face away, his 3D face, but he didn't do Battlefront 2's voice. He didn't do anything else, which is really strange. And then you had Disney Infinity, which they all did as well. So that would have counted as one.
That was
Whereas
kind of
Battlefront 2, I'd imagine with Battlefront 2 coming out at the end of 2017, maybe in those 2 years they all used up their amount of projects that they could do.
Yeah. And looking back on it, like, obviously I'm armchairing here, looking back at what could have been and how everything shook out. But man, if they had made Finn should have been like the main character in the Battlefront stuff, because that guy would have been like the best like cheerleader to go and do it. Like it would have been everybody having their cake and eating it too.
He was still posting about Battlefront. Like he actually posted on like Instagram stories like a few months ago. He was playing Battlefront still, right? He's like, "Oh, I'm still playing as Luke and Finn and stuff like that."
Yeah.
And he even got Oscar to play. Like when they was filming Rise of Skywalker, those two were playing together. He got him a PlayStation. They were playing together, and like Oscar was like, "Oh, I'm too old for games, but I'll play Battlefront." I'm like, "Where's Poe?" sort of thing. But it is strange. Like I was hearing this at like the start of 2017. It was like, yeah, we want Finn, but his agent's like, it's got to be ridiculous amount. John wants to do it, but it's because they was basically asking for the equivalent of, I don't know, 20 or so salaries of game developers. Well, they're going to put that in the salary of the game developers rather than a voice actor.
Yeah.
Because like Daisy originally wasn't actually in the game. It was Helen Slater or Salter, I think, who did Jin for the Battlefront DLC. Because in the beta, it was her. It wasn't Daisy. She came like a few weeks before launch and did her lines. It was like really cutting it close. I remember when I first played the game in February 2017, they were using Google Translate text to speech for like most of the lines and like cutouts of the film. Like you could tell because it had like blaster fire and stuff like that because they didn't have all the voice line. It was so strange.
Yeah, the like take on Rey from most people is kind of like what I think the chat is saying. I didn't like Rey, but after rewatching it recently, she was actually not that bad. She's also a nice person, that kind of thing. And like my take is, I'm not crazy about Episode 9. It's not like my favorite Star Wars movie, but I'm in no way would I ever blame the concept of Rey as a character or the actor for it. You know
I
what
do
mean?
see a lot of people say that, but I think a lot of them do get caught up with the hysteria. Like The Last Jedi, for example, people were bundling her in with everything they hate about Luke. And they do that with The Rise of Skywalker. But at the same time, they're the same people that think Anakin killing, slaughtering people, children, is the greatest thing of all time, and Anakin's perfect, blah, 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 and can do anything straight away because he's the chosen one. Like the Force, it only applies to Anakin. And I just think when there's a bit of a breathing room between the film coming out and people actually going back and rewatching it after a long time, realizing, yeah, maybe what Reddit was telling me and Twitter wasn't what I was thinking. But also people go into watching everything Star Wars and assuming it's bad because of Last Jedi. Like they just assume I'm going to hate watch this. And then they think it is bad, even though they probably do like it.
Yeah. And I honestly, like I've said before, I only encounter that from internet people. Like if I wore this sweater to like the grocery store, which I probably would because I'm embarrassing. But if I did, there would probably just be like, oh, Star Wars, yeah. I can't wait till they make something else. Or did you see The Mandalorian? Or did you see whatever the show is? Like that's how people are.
They don't know the internet like harassed Kelly Marie Tran and things like that. Like they don't know all what went down. They don't listen to most. Like I think the people that actually are online think they do, and think everyone's involved. No, like Most of the
We
people I
like
spoke
to
to
think
were
we're
like,
so smart.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just glad they are away from it. Like they can.
Hey,
just
can I make a
enjoy Star
comment
Wars
about
and-
the contracts? I mean, a lot of stuff has changed since those contracts were written, and all the micro things that are in it, with property and people, and then the pandemic, and then the Black Widow thing. So again, with Oscar Isaac, I wonder if he's got some Disney contract that like spreads out through Marvel and Lucasfilm. Disney, like when you're a Disney legend and then you re-up, what does it mean versus, Daisy versus John? Like it's a very weird territory with the streaming world. Santa talks about it all the time.
Well, like this is just conjecture on my part, but from what I would understand about how productions work and stuff like that, they are all in that Disney hierarchy. So the corporate side is going, if they like you, then they like you, and it's good for you to be in the family. But the way that the way that budget lines work and stuff like that, it's like you're getting a Lucasfilm check and you're getting a Marvel check. So like those things probably they could, I suppose, affect a negotiation on another one. Like, hey, you're gonna take you're gonna do Poe Dameron for 80% of what you're asking, but we're gonna give you the Moon Knight movie. Okay, like it's probably like that, but that's conjecture on my part.
Well, I'm just saying, like what we talk about even offline is that human resources at Disney is taking over everyone. So when you hear things and changes at Lucasfilm, it could be from a freaking stupid mouse like moving stuff around thing. You just never know when people leave and go and why things gets paused in a big machine like that. That's my point.
And
It's
then
very
Johnny,
interesting though how the stuff is changing because I think the stuff with Scarlett Johansson is going to matter in the long run. And
right?
I don't know if that means better, higher paying actors, or we're going to get more, because TV and radio is cheap as fuck, people. It is not a joke. You have no idea. You think it's cheap? It's cheaper than you can even realize. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, it's like the Scarlett Johansson thing. I think just kind of highlights that if they're willing to try to fuck Scarlett Johansson,
Yeah.
somebody at the Daisy Ridley and John Boyega level when they were starting on Seven, I don't think they had too big of a chance if things weren't going their way. I think there was a lot of just having to roll with it. And I think when we're in the aftermath of when you signed me, I was the guy from Attack the Block, but now I'm Finn in 3 Star Wars movies and you want me to come back. I'm going to act like I don't want to do it. Like I got better shit to do. And then you're going to pay me appropriately and I'm going to come back. I
To
mean,
be fair
that's
to John, he's had a bunch
Yeah.
of films out and he's doing very well for himself now, and he's doing stuff that he wants to do. I guess same as like Adam, right? He just did Star Wars and now he's doing, but he was also established before Star Wars, whereas John is now being able to do roles that he wouldn't have got before. So yeah,
Like I
I mean,
wonder if Daisy's leaning into it because she can get overtime, right? She's on that good side. She feels good with Disney. She can lean into more Good Morning America and this and that because she likes that. And maybe her contract, it helps her get overtime cash versus somebody else. Like you just have no idea.
Yeah. Bespin's here, and he says, "Just join. My goodness, Dave Filoni's changed." And then he says, "Chapek tried to fuck over Scarlett, but it was eventually resolved, and she got a big contract for Tower of Terror, and will produce more films for."
She's executive
Disney.
producing Tower of Terror, the way Dwayne Johnson
it.
and what like produced the Jungle Cruise, like that kind of
Well,
vibe.
like how The Rock changed the hierarchy of the DC universe or whatever forever,
No.
that. And then Cadence, I should send you my the one they sent me from last year. It'll look like a dress on you, probably. It could be my Christmas prom queen.
Wait, what's a frock?
What Johnny's going to be wearing when I send him my other sweater?
No, but I'm saying there's the name sweater, and then there's the thing that we just said was a sweater. But what's a frock? Is that like a muumuu?
Dude, I have no idea, man. You have to Wikipedia that shit.
Fashion.
What do you call it? All right, man. All right, you're gonna look adorable. Like when I was a little kid, I used to put on my grandpa's white work shirts because he was a house painter, and I'm like, I'm Casper. That's gonna be Johnny. Johnny's gonna be Casper.
Oh yeah, because a jumper is like the thing that you wear in Miami when you've got like it's the shorts and the shirt and it's linen and it's light yellow and you're walking down in Miami. That's the jumper. That's what I'm thinking of.
I'm just guessing that at some point British people heard sweater and they thought that sounds grotesque. I'm not sweaty. That's probably what happened, and then they somehow came to jumper. I don't know what the etymology of that is, but I think that's how it went. So
maybe.
But my half sister by marriage got some pictures of the Acolyte set. Old Bestman Bulletin says it's been a couple on Byte who you could buy a coffee for if you want to. You sons of bitches.
Best otherwise known as Nick.
Drones, or if he's paying a drone person to do that.
He ties himself to balloons like Webster and flies over the sun. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. He's like the Emmanuel Lewis of Star Wars. I've always said that. So what were you saying? Is it true? Sorry.
I said best been otherwise known as Nick.
Also known as Nick the Mustache. Nick the Mustache Bulletin. When compared to the last set of photographs, you can see that the set has progressed and is quite possibly the final look for this location. Sources of mine have said that the set has been in use throughout November and the tail end of October. So you'd imagine this is its final look. The set itself does give me the vibes of Ferrix, the home planet of Cassian Andor, featured in Andor, but it's a town with red sand. So if you look, red sand, but the town seems to sport a lot of blue paint on its buildings when scenes are filmed at the set. I've seen many blue screens placed around the structures, and so when you kind of zoom in here, you could kind of see that it has it's like a red, almost like Mars style. I don't know.
These are really good pictures because I remember from other pictures of sets like this, like they're so bad quality, but it's really good. You can actually see the detail in, the parts that
very good HD camera on that drone balloon. I mean,
yeah, that's just Bespin with the camera taped to his foot, holding on the balloons.
Hey, Jason, I'm here a lot. Hail Hamhead. Did you and Rob talk about it was episode 11 or 12 of Andor, and I just got a little bit of suspension of disbelief fatigue with Ferrix. I was like, man, we're seeing this thing again. It reminded me too much of the Tatooine fatigue of Boba Fett. Did you guys talk about that? Or?
No, I didn't experience that, because when we went back to Ferrix, I was like, I had a sense of, what are you doing, you stupid motherfucker? Don't go back there. Yeah. You're gonna get arrested. You're gonna go back to space prison. So I was kind of focused on that side of it. But yeah, but this set, I mean, the set does look cool, and it's like a complete 360 set, which leads me to believe, I mean, there's some room in there, but there's not a lot of room in there. And it makes me think that these may be handheld, this may be kind of some handheld camera kind of stuff going on for these moments. It might have sort of that kind of feel to it. Kenobi did it lightly, but
with lots of red blades. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't. That's kind of what you're saying is what's making me think that might be where people start to turn into giant man babies about the show, is when that doesn't happen constantly. Like, everybody's like, it's going to be about the Sith, and there's going to be Sith coming out your ears. Sith everywhere. Sith over here. She's a Sith and he's a Sith. And I think it's going to be like, no, we're the Sith and we're actually real low key about it.
So on the main Star Wars subreddit, someone posted a fan poster of a Sith lightsaber, right? Saying the Acolyte 2023. Evidently fake, but they're not the smartest people over there. Well, sure. It's on the front page, and everyone's like, oh my god, insane. I love the Acolyte. I hate everything else, but I can't wait. Sith. And I'm like, yeah. And then people have already made Lego models of this lightsaber, and I'm like, yeah, it's a fan-made image. It's using Comic Sans as the 2023 or whatever. It's clearly fun. Everyone's like, no, this looks insane. I can't wait to see Sith fighting Jedi. And I'm like, oh no. And they're going to hate it because it's not what they have made up already.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm speaking about is what I call the Californication, right, of Kenobi and Boba Fett. We got a little tired, especially out here, seeing the same damn landscape. And the only thing that scares me with this red dirt is it looks like the inside of the volume of Kenobi, and I don't want to remember. I don't want to remember that one part of Kenobi where I felt like claustrophobic. And Bespin's right. If I'm seeing, the double D's of Ferrix, so to speak, then I'm thinking about it. But the suspension of disbelief was just going back to the environment and being like, ooh, I feel like this is a little like it's inside baseball. We see too much of the production maybe because, we are inside these chats and stuff. But
Yeah.
I just wonder because I think it's dope. Like you said, especially with the great detail that we're getting.
Well, to be fair, they did get Flea, who was on the song Californication, in the show. So they warned you.
Yeah, they did.
Bestman says, Jedi Mike, Ferrix means we'll see Bix. How can you get bored, fatigued? You know, you're making a lot of sense to me right now, Bestman. Finally. And then Cadence Johnny says, if you met me, you'd love me and everything would make sense.
But actually, Bespin, I don't want to see Bix anymore on Ferrix. I want to see her on that beach planet, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Andor's an
She needs
idiot.
to relax in something that's not so constricting
You're making a lot of sense
to help
right
pull
now.
the real rebel force out of her,
You're making a hell of a lot of sense to me right now. But yeah, but I love this photo, dude. So like really good job with it, because you could really you could kind of see we have like a little like porch area and all this and this stuff right here. And it does remind me of some of the Ferric stuff in a way.
I think
but
it's just the ground for me personally. The fact that it's blue, it's a completely different color. Like all
Yeah.
the buildings are going to be a completely
the
different
blue
color.
walls, yeah. Like I'm looking at the blue walls, and then I also see the chat, and I'm seeing Baymax and Candace in blue, and I'm thinking like I'm getting a blue boner because I'm thinking about Thrawn. Like the blue is making me think about Thrawn. But
yeah, we'll see.
by the way, this picture, I completely agree. When I saw it for just a second, someone in the earlier Santa chat said Jakku. Like that.
Yeah,
looks
that's the first
exactly
thing I
what
thought
they're
of.
doing.
Yeah, that's the Star Wars equivalent of a bus stop. So that's what it is, that's
No, I mean it literally looks like Jakku because it looks like what's his name's
Yeah.
hut where Rey was going to turn in her portions was there. Or whatever.
yeah,
Get her
but
portions.
this is one of those things that you walk through to get into like a shipyard, though. Usually like on Jakku outside. What was it
What's
called? Nemik? No, I keep wanting to call it Nemik. What was it? Nemo,
Yeah.
Nemik, Nemo, something outpost.
Sure, brother. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Nema Outpost.
Nema Outpost. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, Nema Outpost. Yeah, like it's one of those things. And what we saw in Kenobi when he goes to get off planet. So, but Bestman can confirm a lot of screws in the Acolyte set. # not his Star Wars. Nick loves him a porch. Nick loves a porch. That's the kind of analysis that's been keeping the Bob podcast going all these years. Loves him a porch. I love you, Nick. I'm just busting your chops. Just busting your stash. Your cool stash. But here we go, right here. Look at that. A little more of that. Another one of that set and that thing. This, yeah. It's also like another thing about this is like I think it's gonna look. I think it's gonna look more like Andor, in a lot of ways because of like when you look at this how this set's being built. It tells me they don't intend to shoot this stuff in the daytime, though. I mean, you're not going to have sunlight. Sunlight's not really going to be working. If the sun shines in there, it's going to shine in there for what, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, and then you're going to lose that.
Yeah, especially this time of year, like it's not very good at the moment. So
Does it remind you of the Mando season 2 nighttime shoots, or was that on the volume? Remember the first episodes?
Yeah, all of that stuff is like a set out in El Segundo, and they probably get about 3 hours worth of true light, and then they put up these big shield things so I can't see in there. And if they do those at the wrong time, then it's going to cast a shadow onto there. They got to move it, and they're still filming. Then that's when I would see stuff. Right now they just built the Ahsoka thing into an entire cage. But
Cage match.
as always, the more you tighten your grip, the more it slips through your fingers. So, yeah. But anyways, Nick says crumbs. And then Bestman is offering he'll open his mouth wide if you give him coffee. Pour coffee in it, and you can put whatever you want else you want in it. It's
There's a
basically
glory
what it's-
hole right there on set.
the Bestman glory hole. Arya says, can we talk about the writer? Because all she has previously made has been weird things, totally not correlating to what Acolyte is described to be. This is like a 180 of what she has made. I would say not exactly. I mean, this is not. I mean, it's using elements of like me and Bespin call it space cops. Kind of has some little bit of a space cop element to it. But chances are, I'm just going to throw it out there. Most of my friends that are women, writers, and gay, they love true crime. I'm not going to lie. I'm being, presumptuous there, but they love fucking true crime. And most of my friends that are into true crime podcasts and stuff like that remind me of Leslie Headland to some degree. So,
By the way, right now, go listen to the Rachel Maddow Ultra podcast if you want to know what Jason's talking about.
Or even just my favorite murder is a great one, by the way,
Yeah.
just on a side note. But when you look at Russian Doll, it's fantasy. And that's the thing to like take away is like, what is the, Russian Doll? It's set in reality or it's set on Earth, but it's still a fantasy. It's closer to the Twilight Zone than it is something about I'm a single woman in San Francisco in 2022. It's not that. So, and Russian Doll is really good. And then Bestman says there's mystery in Russian Doll. Two people work together to uncover a mystery. The series is mature too, and it's also a fantasy. So yeah, I think it has a lot of overlap here. I mean, it's not 1-to-1, but also when you think about Star Wars too, I mean, we're coming off of Andor, so we're all very like Star Wars is very serious and for adults, like as a true. But in reality, we're like Star Wars is kind of jokey. It's a bit sardonic at times and stuff like that, and like that's what her character in Russian Doll is as well. The main character on that.
It's strange to me that people didn't want any jokes in the sequel trilogy films. I know not all of them landed, but they didn't want any of that. Yet these are the people that like the prequels, which had stuff like that.
This is such a drag. If you're cool with that, which I'm cool with it, but if you're cool with that,
it's funny that you say that, Aperture, because I don't know why it works. Like I don't know why Poodoo and that stuff worked for me, but the mom joke didn't. I think it was the modernness, right? It's just like I understand they were kind of pulling from the vernacular of the newer generation that are going to be watching this movie 30 years from now. But I don't know. I don't know why it didn't hit for me. But I love The Last Jedi. If they just didn't have some of those terrible jokes, man.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so 2 days ago there was an article from Tech Radar. The Acolyte will show how the Sith infiltrate the Jedi Order. Yeah. Actually, we went over this one a couple of days ago. This is the one where she leads. I mean, what's her name? Keen drops like the biggest spoiler we've had for the thing so far. I can tease that it's a prequel. Ha ha ha. No, I mean, as you know, it's set 100 years before the prequel movies, and it's kind of an explanation for how the Sith infiltrated the Jedi. It's a Sith-led story, which has never been done before. It's really fun. The cast is amazing. So this is where we're getting to the boring stuff. The director and crew are just lovely. The whole experience is wonderful, and I'm already excited for people to see it. Which sort of like the way she's speaking about it kind of makes it sound like she's already done, which makes me wonder if she's only in some of the earlier episodes or something. But
one thing that gives me confidence is they did Dark Ray really well. That gives me confidence for this show.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole like alternate reality kind of side of stuff is always fun. But this set though, I mean like look at it. This is not in there's not a lot of opulence in this, is there? This is.
It looks
I mean,
like
this
it's
is
Star Wars. That's
yeah.
what's most important. And where the Mandalorian stuff is just a screen, this has Star Wars film level quality set to it. Like it looks like, yeah, if you saw that and was like, what is that? You're gonna say Star Wars. It looks like it's from either Andor or one of the films, which is good.
For like Mandalorian, they build these like I don't know how to talk about measurements really well, but like the size of a bedroom, a panel. It's a big panel, and it has like stuff on it, like a door, and they just set that up and they interlock it into another one, and then they just like redress that, repaint it, and then they just change the configurations constantly. But when you look at what they have here, this is not a modular set. Like there's not too much you could actually take apart and just reconfigure to do that old trick. And in Mandalorian, it's actually fine at first. We're kind of getting to a place where I'm thinking like it's starting to look a little bit like the same shit, and that's why I think they had a good motivation for making Navarro change. That's why like it's gone through like that place is more opulent now. It has trees and stuff like that, and it's like a lot nicer than what it was. But yeah, but point is, this is going to be a scuzzy, seedy, dirty, working class or crime ridden place. It's not going to
Funny
be
how brains work too, because I think when they use the practical stuff in the middle of the volume, it does work for me.
Mhm.
It's some of the other stuff.
What do you mean? What do you mean the
like-
practical stuff in the volume?
Okay, so when because they have practical pieces that people are working around, right? You've seen the behind the scenes on Disney Plus. Like you're in the room and there's the box and the crate and everything. And so when there's a lot of practical things that are in between them and the actor and the back screen, it gives it a depth that works in the volume. Whereas I think when it's just the stormtroopers in front of the screen in Kenobi, then it just looks like a fake rock wall in
Just
the
flat.
background. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so some
I
of it
think
is
the
because we do get
interiors
this-
as well. Like these have depth to them, especially the Andor stuff. Whereas the interior of like the Mandalorian and Kenobi, it's not the same. I mean, I would say like the Crate Dragon episode. That's fantastic. That's phenomenal. Like that's the scale I would want for every single Disney Plus episode.
Yeah. Same. And when it comes to these sets too, like I was saying before, I think they're able when they build over at Shenfield or Pinewood or anything like that compared to the El Segundo Manhattan Beach area, I think they're able to build higher. I don't have like that confirmed, but I'm pretty sure they're able to build higher, and that just makes them shoot differently. Because if you just tilt the camera up a little bit like this, now you've just spent thousands of dollars to tilt the camera so they don't.
Yeah.
And then we just end up with very straight on dead shots as opposed to what we just saw in Andor, which was shot way more fun.
Like we had a guy in a tower and looking over and things like looking up to the tower and stuff like that. Like in Mandalorian, it's literally on
that's
one
a zoning thing, right, Jason? You can tell they can only stack so many craters tall to cover up the sides. That's a zoning issue in California, I believe.
That's what I think. And well, it's like where they film at El Segundo. It's right going right across it is a metro train track up high, and so I almost think if they were to build really high, they could be endangering if that caught on fire and that train's going. I just don't think it's something that you can do. It's an assumption on my part, but some logic tells me you can't do that. And so yeah, it might be time to let that space go and to move somewhere else entirely too. But the Acolyte started filming at this is Bestman Bulletin. The Acolyte started filming at Shinfield Studios in Berkshire, England, towards the tail end of October, with filming expected to run until May. The series, described as a mystery thriller, will take viewers. Wait a minute, I don't see titular anywhere in this article. This article, I'm not even finishing it. He doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
Toothular.
Yeah, Toothy Sarlacc. I would have taken that too. I would have taken
Toothular,
Little Marlowe, Big Marlowe. I don't care. Bespin says the tower was real in Andor. It was as high as it was in the show, or it wasn't as high as it was in the show, but it was fairly high. Yeah, it's probably just like high enough to like look to like get some of that like down, right, and then up and down from a camera, and like yeah, that makes sense. Also, did you guys see that? Like, if you listen to the Andor episode with the hearing impaired stuff, where it describes it, it says that that bell is Beskar. They call it a Beskar bell.
Ah,
Oh
that's
no,
cool.
that's cool.
Yeah. So those I don't know. I've been thinking about it. That's been on my brain though. I've been like, that bell costs way too much money. Then, like all these people. I mean, priorities, guys. You
I
can
thought
sell
they was
that.
gonna. I thought they was gonna use the turret to blast it, just destroy it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
glad they
I
didn't.
mean-
I'm glad the guy just kicked the stormtrooper off.
I'm glad a Rancor didn't come out and climb the goddamn tower. I mean, I
Yeah.
love that scene. I love
Yeah.
the end of Boba, but yeah.
The production value of Acolyte is more like Andor though, so that's good. It does seem that seems like that is the case so far. And Arya says the Arya majority of the wait, Arya, you put your name in there. That's weird, Arya. You want me to just say your name? Okay, Arya.
Say my
Majority of
name.
the-
Say my name.
Of the UK production show that we have all been high quality compared to the Cali stuff. Why not just always do production in the UK with tons of freedom and unique environments? I mean, in a way, that's kind of how it used to be or what they were going for, but I think it has to do with talent. Like Jon Favreau, his family lives here, his friends all live here. I don't think Jon Favreau wants to go and relocate to do Star Wars. So I think it's about having access to certain talent pools and certain actors and stuff like that. And then, but it is true. Classically, we've American production companies have been able to save money by going over to the UK because by doing so, you guys hook us up with all kinds of tax breaks, incentives, and access to filming locations that out here in Hollywood area, they're like, oh yeah, you want to make a movie? We know you got money, pay us. And they don't really run into that as much. So I think that might, I think it's right
It's
now they're
also
just moving
Pinewood,
everywhere.
like right. It's literally it's a smaller area. It's one place. Everything out here, they're always trying to find a cheaper here and a cheaper there. I'm gonna go to Canada here and this and that. Like Pinewood, like it keeps
All the
going
main
back.
studios are in a very small proximity.
Yeah, like
of
that
each-
one's Shinfield, right? I think that's Shinfield,
Yeah.
where they're filming Acolyte.
Oh, okay. I'm getting it mixed
And
up.
then Willow was at Dragon Studios, and then there's Pinewood. But they're all, like if we were starting a production today and we wanted to do like we're doing like our fantasy movie, and we're doing it. Well, we got the studio there, but then we could also move our production out to any of the locations out there, and without having to go too far, and get access to whatever out there. So it's definitely like attractive. Me being an American, when they film in Joshua Tree, like I just been there. Like I just go there with girls that are like, let's go for a walk in the desert. I'm like, all right. And I'll do it. I don't really want to. I hate going outside. That's for dummies. I don't like going outside. But so anyways, I've had to go to Joshua Tree a few times just like with girlfriends over the years. So when I see Kenobi there, I'm like, okay. It loses. So I don't know if that's what it's like for people in the UK when they watch Willow and Star Wars.
I was watching Star Wars Explained, and this was before Andor came out, and he said like Kenobi looks so familiar, maybe because it's familiar surroundings for say a large portion of the audience being in America, right? Well, maybe wonder if that's going to be the same for Andor. And I kept thinking about that, and it's like no. I feel like Kenobi and Mandalorian are more familiar to me than Andor, which one of the locations is very close to me. Like I've been to close to, like they're very similar locations I've been to. They feel more like Star Wars from whatever Mandalorian. Like
we tie balloons to you and throw you over the set. What's going on, man?
Like Kenobi and Mandalorian to me is California, and like I've been a few times, and it's just desert, and it's like it doesn't. I think it was mostly because we had that Mandalorian episode in the book the Boba Fett episode in Mandalorian, which was fine, but when you got to the Kenobi and it was just that again, pretty much. It just felt like they could have done something like if it was a film, we'd have had a completely different location. And like I said, Andor doesn't feel like any it feels like Star Wars. It doesn't feel familiar, which is good. Even though I know this is in the UK, but I'd rather see this than just Boba Fett and Mandalorian.
Yeah, when they're filming like Star Wars movies, they have people out in weird ass places in like Scotland and stuff, like looking at like things that like, what are you guys doing out here? And then I would get like weird emails like, yeah, the Star Wars people were here. We don't know if they're going to film here, but they've been here looking at this place, and we got this weird, quarry or something. And you're like, oh, okay, But when it's like the TV shows that they film out in Southern California, for the most part, they don't really seem to do that stuff too much. It's kind of
like Octo is a fantastic location that they picked.
Yeah.
Like it's very hot. Most people haven't been there. Most people didn't know it existed.
No idea.
And it looks fantastic. It looks like it's straight out of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think having seen the houses so many times, like the what they call it, the caretaker houses a lot, and having seen them in real life from photos and stuff, it sort of does take away that a little bit, I think. But as for the whole island, it's like, yeah, that's a Star Wars location in the middle of nowhere, and it's got the rock formations. Whereas if you'd have just done that in like Kenobi, Mandalorian, you'd be like, it's not, it's on Earth, it's not Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, imagine them trying to do Octo in California. It's just not really. It's not really going to work.
Even if you went to the most insane place in like a desert or whatever you call it, it's not the same.
Yeah, not at all. Bestman says Disney has to produce a certain amount of shows, films for Disney Plus too. It's an agreement they made with the UK government. So there's that.
You must produce with a mouse. No.
Yeah.
House of the Mouse.
House of the Mouse. Uh-oh. Star Wars is back. The House of the Mouse is reporting titularly that. But whoa, what's going on here, computer? Robert says, and then when things happen like another tax on puffy directing pants, but I don't wear puffy pants, but that's deep cut for those who know old Simpsons. Okay, dude. And
37 years. How many years? 41 years? Seasons? 41 seasons of Simpsons? 42?
Wow.
I
That
think
many,
now.
huh?
Yeah, that's a lot of TV
no.
trivia.
No, there couldn't be because I'm 43 and it came out when I was 8.
I know there's 31 maybe of the 37 on Disney Plus or something.
Unless they did multiple seasons or something one year. Soccer is so fucking lame, Bespin.
No.
That's. I mean,
I've seen a soccer match in.
How about this? You mean football? You're talking about football?
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
I'm not a sports guy.
What time is the USA game tomorrow for you, Azure? It's 6 a.m. here, and I'm literally thinking I want to go. Jason, I'm insane. If you want to go down to the Ye Old Pub and get there at like 4 a.m, like to just be there with the fans that are going to be watching stuff. I don't know how we'll do it, but let's put it together, man. Because it's going to be nuts tomorrow.
I haven't watched one game. I don't know anything about it.
The Ye Old British Pub out here is like the spot, and everyone and their mother are in this one.
But if you want to meet
in Los Angeles,
if you want to join us for the Fortnite live event, by all means, that's what I'm going to be doing that day.
Put on the VR.
Oh yeah.
Is there any Star Wars leaks? I need to know.
Right? Yeah. Is there going to be actually in terms of Fortnite?
What's the next Star Wars Fortnite thing that's coming in March 1st for Boba?
We don't even
for Mando 3?
Weird. There's always leaks on everything Fortnite. We don't even know like what the like battle pass main guy is this time, or like the main like skin.
You mean any download any new thing in Fortnite? You don't know right now through January. Like they haven't put it out that far.
No, tomorrow's like the live event that ends the current battle pass. Then a new battle pass comes out, and right now what we know about that new battle pass is like just minor stuff, So
I feel like,
anyways, but nothing from Star
feel
Wars
like
yet.
It was going to have Andor. I do feel like it was going to have Andor, or maybe it was going to be. How they brought in the original trilogy characters. Yeah. Wasn't Mando potentially going to come around this time, like a long time ago? So maybe they was going to have Mando at this time, and then they pushed Mando back season 3. So it was like, okay, we'll just give them original trilogy characters.
We're getting new DLC stuff for the Lego Star Wars. My kids, I swear, have it in the pipeline already on their Switch, right? Like
we've just got 6 packs. Yeah, we just got 6 packs over the past few weeks we've had some.
But for Fortnite, Star Wars stuff, I don't think there's anything else lined up. There was no Andor, nothing, which kind of made me mad. I would have been fine with them like sneaking a Cassian Andor into like the Luke Han Leia like pack. I would have bought that and paid extra for it to have it.
Probably would have
Andor.
done well given how the series is done.
If
Yeah.
anybody in our community has any anxiety this weekend, about holidays coming up or anything else, Darth Lopez says a wash of Star Wars on TNT is going to be playing for hours and hours all weekend. Just turn TNT on and listen to the NBA commercials and the ABC television things. Actually, if you watch TNT ABC commercials, you'll see the great light fight, where they light up those communities for holidays. That might lessen your anxiety also. Watch Star Wars on TNT. Thanks.
Arya says, does Bespin know why Praetorian guards are in Mando? What are they protecting that's important? And Bespin says they're protecting Watto. But all right, well, I have to go and get the old kiddos from school because it's the end of school now. They're about to get out.
It's the end of the school.
Yeah. As a true, thank you for joining us today and hanging out with us, dude. You're
Awesome,
always
dude.
welcome.
Love
Thank
the
you for
team.
coming over on such short notice, Jedi Mike. Appreciate that, man.
Hail Lambhead.
Yeah, hell,
You know me.
Lambhead. And I'll be back Monday, unless something happens over the weekend. But considering what we've had this week, I think it's going to be a quiet weekend. I would think.
I'll try and get on next week before the Jedi Survivor trailer comes
All
out.
the LA Comic-Con news will be like Monday morning. Like they'll be talking about it Monday, Tuesday, I'm sure.
So I think the trailer's only half an hour into the show, apparently, but it's like really late for me. It's gonna be like 1 a.m. something like that. So I'll try and get on the night before. Also, I will have some like Battlefront 2 bits about before it ended, like stuff that was planning that I've heard that I can say. So
yeah. Come
it's
on
really
by.
sad.
And,
it just makes me upset. But
and if you want to pop in on that one night and you're like tired, but you want to stop and hit the big thing and then go to bed, that's cool too. Just saying.
Okay.
All right, man. All right. So I'll see you next week. Thank you, Jedi Mike. I'll see you guys all Monday or over the weekend if anything happens.
I have Lambhead, protector of the realm.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go. It's not about spaceships.